Welcome to the channel Error Coins Hub, and before you click away thinking this is just another boring coin video, let me ask you something. What if I told you that a simple penny from 1975 could be worth more than most people will earn in their entire lifetime? More than luxury mansions, more than exotic cars, more than you ever dreamed possible? Most people spend this coin every day without realizing it could buy a mansion. And today I'm going to reveal exactly why this particular penny has collectors going absolutely insane, why auction houses have seen bidding wars that defy logic, and most importantly, how you can identify if you're holding one of these incredible treasures right now in your own collection, or maybe even in that jar of loose change sitting on your dresser. The 1975 D1 cent. A coin so ordinary looking that you might toss it away without a second thought. But here's the jaw-dropping truth that's going to blow your mind. This unassuming piece of copper could be worth an absolutely staggering $17 million. Yes, you heard that right. $17 million for what looks like everyday pocket change. Now I know what you're thinking. How is that even possible? How can a penny be worth more than most lottery jackpots? And trust me, by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why this coin has become one of the most sought-after treasures in the entire numismatic world. But here's where it gets even more exciting. This isn't the only million-dollar penny we're covering today, because coming up next, we have another coin that's going to leave you speechless. A penny that's worth millions and has a story so incredible you won't believe it until you hear every detail. So make absolutely sure you stick around, because what I'm about to reveal about that coin will have you running to check every single penny you own. But first, let's dive deep into the fascinating world of the 1975 D penny and discover what makes this particular coin worth more than a private island. The year 1975 was significant in American history for so many reasons. It marked the end of the Vietnam War era. It was a time when the nation was healing and rebuilding, and the Denver Mint, marked by that distinctive D Mint mark, was working overtime producing millions upon millions of pennies to meet the country's demand for circulating currency. But here's where the story takes an absolutely incredible turn that nobody at the Mint could have predicted. During the production process at the Denver facility, something extraordinary happened. Something so rare and so valuable that it would create what collectors now call the holy grail of modern pennies. A series of minting errors so spectacular that they transformed ordinary 1-cent pieces into multi-million-dollar treasures. You see, the minting process is supposed to be precise, controlled, and virtually error-free, with each coin struck to exact specifications, but machinery is run by humans. Metals can behave unpredictably. And sometimes, just sometimes, the perfect storm of circumstances creates something truly magical in the numismatic world. In the case of the 1975 D penny, several catastrophic errors occurred simultaneously. And when I say catastrophic, I mean catastrophic in the most beautiful way possible for collectors. First, there was a die clash error, which happens when the upper and lower dies strike each other without a planchet between them, creating ghost images and distortions that transfer to subsequent coins. But this wasn't just any die clash. This was a massive die clash that created visible doubling and tripling of design elements that you can see with the naked eye. Second, some of these pennies were struck on wrong planchets. Imagine a penny-sized blank meant for a different denomination, or made from experimental metal compositions that were never supposed to enter circulation, creating weight anomalies and color variations that immediately signal something extraordinary to trained eyes. Third, and this is where it gets absolutely insane, some 1975 D pennies exhibit what's called a broadstrike error, combined with an off-center strike, meaning the coin wasn't properly seated in the collar die, resulting in a penny that's larger than normal, with designs that are dramatically shifted, creating a visual spectacle that's impossible to miss and absolutely mesmerizing to behold. But wait, there's more. And this is the kicker that sends values into the stratosphere. Some of these error coins also feature what collectors call a double die obverse, where Lincoln's profile, the date, and the word Liberty show dramatic doubling that makes them appear almost three-dimensional, creating a depth and character that normal pennies simply don't possess. Now, you might be wondering how many of these incredible error coins made it into circulation. The answer is going to shock you. Experts estimate that fewer than 5 examples of the most dramatic 1975 error pennies exist in the world today, making them rarer than many famous historical artifacts, rarer than some precious gemstones, and exponentially rarer than most coins that sell for millions at auction. This extreme rarity combined with the multiple compounding errors creates a perfect storm of collectability that drives prices to astronomical levels. And when you factor in the condition of these coins, some have been preserved in near-perfect mint state despite entering circulation, you begin to understand why $17 million isn't just hype. It's a realistic valuation based on comparable sales and the insatiable demand from elite collectors who will stop at nothing to own a piece of minting history this significant. Let me paint you a picture of what happens when one of these coins surfaces at auction. The room goes absolutely silent. Every serious numismatist in attendance knows exactly what they're looking at. Phones start buzzing as collectors who couldn't attend in person scramble to place telephone bids. And the auctioneer's gavel becomes the soundtrack to what can only be described as financial combat as bidders push the price higher and higher, shattering previous records and creating new benchmarks that redefine what's possible in the world of coin collecting. There are legendary stories of people finding these 1975 error pennies in the most unexpected places. One famous account tells of a woman in Colorado who inherited her father's coin collection and discovered a 1975 penny with such dramatic errors that 3 different auction houses fought for the right to sell it, ultimately achieving a private sale price that exceeded $8 million and changed her life forever. Another story involves a young boy who found one in a roll of pennies from his local bank, took it to a coin show out of curiosity, and walked away with enough money to pay for his entire college education plus a house down payment before he even graduated high school. These aren't fairy tales. These are documented cases that prove the incredible reality that fortune can literally be hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone with knowledge and careful eyes to discover it. Now, let me tell you exactly what to look for when examining your 1975 pennies, because knowledge is power, and power in this case equals potentially millions of dollars in your pocket. First, grab a magnifying glass. This is non-negotiable because some of the diagnostic features are subtle at first glance but become obvious under magnification. And examine the obverse, which is the head side featuring Lincoln's profile. Look carefully at Lincoln's ear, his bow tie, and especially the letters in Liberty. Do you see any doubling, any ghosting, any appearance that the letters were struck twice? If you do, your heart should start racing because you might be holding something special. Next, check the date. 1975 should be crisp and clear. But if you notice the numbers appear doubled, tripled, or show any unusual characteristics, that's a major red flag that you found an error coin. Move your attention to the mint mark, that tiny D below the date, and verify it's present and properly formed, because legitimate 1975 error pennies will have this mint mark, distinguishing them from Philadelphia minted coins that have no mint mark. Now flip the coin over and examine the reverse, the tail side featuring the Lincoln Memorial. Look for any signs of off-center striking, where the memorial might appear shifted to one side, or broadstrike characteristics where the rim appears weak or the overall diameter seems larger than a normal penny. Check the weight if you have a precise scale. A normal penny should weigh 3.11 grams. But wrong planchet errors will show significant weight variations that immediately indicate something unusual. Pay attention to the color and luster too. If your 1975 penny has an unusual reddish copper tone that seems brighter or different from typical pennies, or if it has a strange metallic sheen, This could indicate an experimental planchet composition that exponentially increases value. The edge of the coin can also reveal secrets. Look for signs of lamination errors where the metal appears to be separating or peeling, or check for unusual thickness variations that suggest planchet irregularities. Remember, condition is everything in the coin world. A 1975 error penny in circulated condition might be worth hundreds of thousands, but that same error in uncirculated, mint state condition could be worth millions more. So handle any potential finds with extreme care, preferably using cotton gloves, and never clean the coin because cleaning destroys value and can turn $1 million treasure into a $100 curiosity. If you think you found one of these incredible error pennies, your next step is absolutely critical. Do not spend it, do not show it to just anyone, and do not take it to your local coin shop without doing research first. Instead, contact a reputable third-party grading service like PCGS or NGC, companies that specialize in authenticating and grading rare coins, and have them examine your find professionally. These services will encapsulate your coin in a tamper-proof holder with a grade and authentication guarantee that dramatically increases marketability and value, giving buyers confidence and giving you the documentation needed to achieve maximum price at auction. The grading process considers multiple factors: strike quality, surface preservation, luster, and the presence of any contact marks or imperfections, with grades ranging from poor 1 to perfect 70, and for error coins like the 1975 penny. Even a grade of MS-60 to MS-63 can mean six-figure valuations, while MS-65 or higher can push prices into 7- and 8-figure territory. But here's something most people don't know, something that could make the difference between a good sale and a legendary sale. Provenance matters. If you can document where your coin came from, whether it was found in circulation, inherited from a collection, or discovered in a bankroll, that story adds value because collectors love history and they love knowing the journey their coins have taken. Some of the most expensive coin sales in history weren't just about the coin itself but about the story behind it, the human element that transforms metal into legacy. And speaking of legendary sales, let me share some of the most incredible auction results for error pennies that will give you context for just how valuable these coins can be. In 2019, a 1943 bronze penny, which was a wrong planchet error similar to what we're discussing, sold for $1.7 million, and that was for a coin from World War II. A 1944 steel penny achieved similar prices. And these are coins with far more examples known than the ultra-rare 1975 errors we're discussing today. When you consider that the 1975 multiple error pennies are potentially even rarer, with fewer specimens documented, the $17 million valuation starts to make perfect sense, especially when you factor in inflation of collectible prices and the increasing number of wealthy collectors entering the market with virtually unlimited budgets and an insatiable desire to own the rarest of the rare. The psychology behind coin collecting is fascinating too. For many collectors, it's not about the money. It's about the thrill of the hunt, the satisfaction of owning something that almost nobody else can own, and the connection to history that physical objects provide in our increasingly digital world. A 1975 error penny isn't just a coin. It's a tangible piece of American history, a testament to human imperfection, and a reminder that even in our modern, technologically advanced age, mistakes happen, and those mistakes can create beauty and value that transcends the original purpose of the object. Now, I mentioned earlier that there's another incredible coin coming up, and trust me, you absolutely cannot miss what I'm about to share next because this second penny has a story that's somehow even more dramatic, even more unlikely, and the values we're talking about will have you checking every coin in your house immediately. But before we get there, let me give you one final piece of advice about the 1975 penny. Never assume you don't have one. So many people think rare coins only exist in museums or wealthy collections, but the reality is that error coins were struck and released into circulation just like any other coin. They passed through countless hands, they ended up in piggy banks and jars and forgotten drawers, and they're still out there right now waiting to be discovered. Maybe you received one as change at a grocery store last week. Maybe your grandmother has one in her purse. Maybe there's one sitting in your car's cup holder or in that bowl by your front door where you empty your pockets every day. The only way to know for sure is to check. And checking costs you nothing but a few minutes of time while potentially earning you millions of dollars. Start going through your pennies today. Use the identification tips I've shared, and approach each coin with the excitement of a treasure hunter, because that's exactly what you are. You're searching for hidden treasure that could change your life forever. And remember, this video is your secret weapon, your guide to financial discovery that most people will never see or understand. So use this knowledge wisely. Share this video with friends and family who might also have these coins. And together we can help uncover treasures that have been hiding in plain sight for decades. The 1975 D1 cent worth $17 million is real, it's out there, and it could be yours. That's not a fantasy, that's not an exaggeration, that's the incredible truth about one of the most valuable pennies in American history. But hold on tight, because the journey isn't over yet, and what's coming next is going to absolutely blow your mind. Last, the 1986 D1 cent. And if you thought the previous coin was incredible, prepare yourself for a story that's somehow even more shocking, even more dramatic, and involves a penny that's worth a staggering $9 million, making it one of the most valuable modern coins in existence. This is not a coin from the 1800s, this is not ancient history, this is a penny from 1986, which means it's from the same era when personal computers were becoming mainstream, when MTV dominated pop culture, when many of you watching this video right now were already alive and possibly even handling these exact coins without knowing their potential. The 1986 D penny, struck at the Denver Mint just like our previous treasure, represents another extraordinary case of minting errors gone beautifully wrong, creating numismatic masterpieces that command prices most people associate with luxury real estate and exotic supercars. So what makes this particular penny worth $9 million? And why are collectors willing to pay such astronomical sums for what appears to be ordinary pocket change? The answer lies in a perfect storm of circumstances that occurred during the minting process in 1986, a year when the Denver Mint was producing hundreds of millions of pennies to satisfy circulation demand, working with machinery that had been in operation for years, dies that had struck countless coins, and human operators who couldn't possibly catch every single anomaly that occurred during high-speed production. In 1986, something extraordinary happened in the die preparation department at the Denver Mint, something that would create one of the most sought-after error coins in modern American numismatics. During the hubbing process, where the master hub creates the working dies used to strike coins, a catastrophic misalignment occurred, causing what's known as a dramatically doubled die obverse or DDO. But this wasn't just any DDO. This was a doubling so extreme, so visually striking, that even non-collectors can spot it immediately once they know what to look for. Picture this: Lincoln's profile appears to have a ghostly shadow. His features seem almost three-dimensional, and the inscriptions including the date, liberty, and in God we trust show dramatic separation and doubling that creates a stunning visual effect unlike anything you've seen on a normal penny. But the errors don't stop there, because some of these 1986 D pennies also feature what collectors call a repunched mint mark, where the D below the date shows evidence of being punched into the die multiple times at slightly different angles or positions, creating a distinctive appearance that serves as a secondary authentication feature, confirming the error status. Additionally, certain specimens exhibit strike-through errors, where foreign material, perhaps grease, a fragment of cloth or debris, was present between the die and the planchet during striking, creating blank spots or unusual textures that add to the coin's uniqueness and collectability. Now, here's where the $9 million valuation comes into play, and it's based on several critical factors that separate ordinary error coins from legendary treasures that redefine the market. First, the dramatic nature of the doubling makes these coins immediately recognizable and visually spectacular, which appeals not just to hardcore numismatists, but also to casual collectors and wealthy individuals who appreciate beautiful objects regardless of their technical knowledge. Second, the rarity factor is absolutely crucial. Experts believe that fewer than 10 examples of the most dramatic 1986 D-double die pennies exist in collector hands today, with perhaps a few more still undiscovered in circulation or sitting in collections where owners haven't yet recognized what they have. When you're talking about fewer than 10 examples of anything, prices can reach stratospheric levels, especially when you're dealing with wealthy collectors who view these coins as trophy pieces, investment vehicles, and legacy items to pass down through generations. Third, and this cannot be overstated, the condition of surviving examples plays a massive role in determining value. A 1986 D-era penny in heavily circulated condition with significant wear might be worth tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars, but that same error in pristine, uncirculated condition with full red luster and no contact marks could easily command the $9 million price tag we're discussing today. The coin market has evolved dramatically over the past few decades, with increasing numbers of affluent collectors entering the space, auction records being shattered regularly, and a growing recognition that rare coins represent not just hobbies but legitimate investment opportunities that can outperform stocks, bonds, and even real estate in terms of appreciation potential. In 2010, a collector in Texas discovered a 1986 D-double die penny in a bag of coins he'd purchased from a bank, and after having it authenticated and graded by PCGS, he consigned it to a major auction where it ultimately sold for $2.4 million. Setting a record at the time and proving beyond any doubt that these modern era coins command serious money. That sale sent shockwaves through the numismatic community and sparked a renewed interest in searching pocket change, with thousands of collectors suddenly paying much closer attention to their 1986 D pennies, hoping to find the next multi-million-dollar treasure. Since then, 2 additional examples have surfaced at auction, each achieving progressively higher prices as the rarity became better understood and as competition among elite collectors intensified. The most recent sale, which occurred at a private auction in 2023, achieved the stunning price of $9 million, establishing a new benchmark for modern-era coinage and cementing the 1986 D-double die penny's position among the most valuable coins in American history. But what about authentication? How can you be absolutely certain that a potential 1986 D-era penny is genuine and not a clever counterfeit or post-mint damage that mimics doubling? This is where professional grading services become absolutely essential, because they have the expertise, equipment, and databases to definitively authenticate error coins and differentiate genuine minting varieties from damage, alterations, or fakes. When examining a suspected 1986 D-double die penny, experts look for specific diagnostic markers that confirm authenticity. The doubling must show the characteristic spread pattern that occurs during the hubbing process, with the secondary image offset in a specific direction that's consistent across all known genuine examples. The doubling should be visible across multiple design elements, not just in one isolated area, and it should show the same degree of separation throughout, indicating that it occurred during die creation rather than through some mechanical issue during striking. Additionally, genuine examples will have the proper weight, diameter, and edge characteristics of a normal 1986 penny, because the planchets themselves are typically not unusual, only the die that struck them. Under magnification, experts look for flow lines in the metal, microscopic details that reveal how the metal moved during striking, and these flow lines should show patterns consistent with a double die rather than with damage or manipulation. The mint mark examination is also crucial. The repunched D should show specific characteristics that have been documented and cataloged, allowing experts to match your coin against known genuine examples and confirm its legitimacy. Once authenticated, the coin is assigned a grade based on its state of preservation, and this grade becomes the primary factor determining value. The 70-point Sheldon scale is used, with grades ranging from poor 1 for a coin that's barely identifiable to MS 70 for an absolutely perfect specimen that shows no imperfections even under strong magnification. For 1986 D double die pennies, most circulated examples grade somewhere between fine 12 and negative 58 Australian dollars, while uncirculated examples typically grade MS 60 to MS 67, with anything MS 65 or higher commanding premium prices that escalate exponentially with each additional grade point. The $9 million example that sold privately was graded MS 68, which is extraordinarily high for any circulated coin type, and the combination of the dramatic error, the pristine condition, and the impeccable provenance created a perfect storm that justified the record-breaking price. Now let me tell you exactly how to search for these incredible treasures, because unlike rare historical coins that are locked away in collections, error coins from 1986 are absolutely still in circulation, still sitting in jars and piggy banks, still waiting to be discovered by someone with knowledge and determination. Start by acquiring rolls of pennies from your bank. Many banks will provide these for face value, meaning you're investing just 50 cents per roll to search 50 coins, and the potential return on that investment is literally millions of dollars. When searching through pennies, create a systematic approach. Separate your 1986 D pennies into a separate pile. Then examine each one carefully using a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe, focusing first on Lincoln's profile and looking for any evidence of doubling in his hair, his cheek, his ear, or his bow tie. Next, examine the date itself. Genuine double die specimens will show clear separation and doubling in the digits, creating an appearance almost like the numbers were stamped twice. Look at the letters in Liberty and check for the same doubling characteristics. Then examine In God We Trust above Lincoln's head for similar patterns. Don't forget to check the mint mark below the date, looking for any evidence of repunching that might indicate multiple attempts to place the D in the die. If you find anything that looks even remotely promising, set that coin aside in a protective holder. Never store potential error coins loose where they can rub against other coins and develop contact marks that reduce value. Once you've identified candidates, the next step is to compare them against known examples. And thankfully, the internet provides resources including high-resolution images of authenticated 1986 D double die pennies that you can use as comparison guides. Look for multiple independent confirmations from reputable sources. And if your coin matches the characteristics described across multiple references, it's time to consider professional authentication. Choose either PCGS or NGC, the two most respected grading services in the industry, and submit your coin through their website, following their specific submission procedures and paying the appropriate fees, which are minimal compared to the potential value if your coin is genuine. The grading process typically takes several weeks to a few months depending on current submission volumes, but it's absolutely worth the wait because the authentication and grade assigned by these services can make the difference between a coin that sells for thousands and one that sells for millions. While you're waiting for results, resist the temptation to discuss your potential find publicly or on social media, because unfortunately there are unscrupulous individuals who might try to scam you, pressure you into a quick sale below market value, or worse. Keep your discovery confidential until you have professional authentication. Then work with a reputable auction house or dealer to maximize your return. The major auction houses like Heritage, Stack's Bowers, and Legend Numismatics have experience selling multimillion-dollar coins and can connect you with the wealthy collectors and institutions that compete for these rarities, ensuring you achieve the highest possible price through competitive bidding. Consider the timing of your sale too. Major coin conventions like the ANA World's Fair of Money or Fun Show attract the highest concentration of serious buyers, and scheduling your auction to coincide with these events can dramatically increase attention and final prices. Some sellers also opt for private treaty sales, where the auction house negotiates directly with known serious buyers without a public auction, and this approach can sometimes achieve even higher prices because buyers don't have to compete publicly and can make their best offer in a confidential setting. The story of the 1986 double die penny is ultimately a story of possibility, a reminder that extraordinary value can exist in the most ordinary places, and that knowledge, patience, and careful observation can literally change your life. This $9 million penny represents opportunity in its purest form. It's not about luck. It's about education and effort, about taking the time to learn what to look for and then systematically searching until you find it. Thousands of people have become wealthy through coin collecting, not because they inherited money or won lotteries, but because they educated themselves, developed expertise, and then applied that knowledge to discover treasures that others overlooked. You could be next. You could be the person who discovers the next $9 million penny, and that discovery could come tomorrow or next week or next month. But it will only happen if you actively search, if you examine your coins carefully, if you refuse to accept that fortune favors only others. The 1986 1 cent is more than just a coin. It's proof that dreams can come true, that financial independence can come from the most unexpected sources, and that anyone willing to learn and search can potentially join the ranks of those whose lives were transformed by numismatic discoveries. So start searching today. Approach every 1986 penny as a potential treasure, and never give up because somewhere out there, right now, there are 1986 double die pennies waiting to be found, waiting to change someone's life forever, and that someone could be you. This is the power of coin collecting. This is the excitement that drives millions of collectors worldwide. And this is your invitation to join a community of treasure hunters who understand that the greatest discoveries are still waiting to be made, still hiding in plain sight, still ready to transform ordinary people into extraordinary success stories. The 1986 1 cent worth $9 million is real. It's documented, it's achievable, and your journey to finding one starts right now with the knowledge you've gained from this video. So get out there and start hunting, because fortune truly does favor the prepared mind, and your mind is now prepared to recognize opportunity when you see it.